Today on the Bandrew Says podcast, we're going to be analyzing Facebook being down for an entire day, Spotify fighting Apple, and a whole lot more, so go ahead and stick around. Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome back to episode 160 of the BSP. My name is Bandrew. This is What I Says. Like always, down below there are timestamps of everything that I talk about, so you can skip around and save a couple of minutes. But if you got the time, I would appreciate you checking out the entire episode. If you do want a different version of the show, you can find all of that at bandrewsays.com. Let's jump right into it, and the first thing is amazing news. Facebook was down for nearly an entire day. It was a beautiful thing. I was so excited to read this news, and it turns out that Facebook, Instagram, Oculus, and WhatsApp, and I am sure that other Facebook subsidiaries were also down, but they were down for almost the entire day of March 13th. I read some news articles trying to find some reasoning behind this, and somebody is speculating that it had to do with a database. Surprise, surprise. The entire site and the entire ecosystem of Facebook apps are down. Probably a database issue, not too far of a stretch. The thing that I wanted to point out here, the world kept on turning. Everybody was fine. If social media were to go away, I am certain that all of us would be okay and we would continue to live our lives. So nobody should be too terrified of the idea of Facebook disappearing or Twitter disappearing or any social media platform disappearing, because we saw it disappear for just one day and everything was fine. I do hope that this led to people realizing that there's some joy to be found outside of being plugged into social media every single day. But none of this really matters. The real reason why I brought up the Facebook story is I think this is a great time to remind people that if you are a content creator, you should have a primary hub that you own, that you run, that you host. So if one of these websites goes down, like Facebook, like Twitter, maybe YouTube were to go down, that you have a place that people are aware of, that they can go to, find out what you're working on, and find your content that you are hosting that was not lost because the social media platform that you had been using disappeared. So if you don't have that set up, if you are a podcaster, if you are a YouTuber, if you have a following on Facebook, have your own website, have bandrewscott.com. I'm not saying go buy that. That's mine. You can't have it. Have podcastage.com. Not saying do that because it's $2,000 to buy that domain, but you get the idea. That's the end of that story. Next up, we got Logan Paul coming out with a flat earth conspiracy video. That's right. If you don't remember Logan Paul, he is famous from jaunts and goofs like the Suicide Forest video, filming somebody who had committed suicide and uploading it in the thumbnail and in the video for his underage audience to see. What a great guy, you may be thinking. You are totally right. What a wonderful gentleman. Regardless, he does have a flat earth conspiracy video coming out. He released the trailer, and I believe it comes out on the 20th of March, and that is the entire story. You may be thinking, why are you bringing this up? Let me explain. We need to keep our eye on the performance of this video and the performance of Logan Paul's entire channel, because in January of 2019, YouTube released a blog post stating that they would be de-recommending conspiracy videos. They did not want conspiracy videos to continue to perpetuate or be pushed out there because that reflects poorly on YouTube. It makes it look like YouTube is advocating or supporting these conspiracy theories. We saw something just a couple months ago that should raise red flags. We saw this blog post come out, but then we saw Shane Dawson release a 2-part conspiracy theory video documentary series thing, and that has a cumulative amount of 60 plus million views. So it does not look like YouTube is keeping its end of the bargain with de-recommending conspiracy videos. I'm not saying this because I want YouTube to de-recommend conspiracy videos. I'm a conspiracy nut. I enjoy them, even though I know 99% of them are absolute nonsense, but I still enjoy them. And I don't know if I support YouTube censoring or determining what people can watch on their platform. It concerns me a little bit. But being that they did release that blog post saying that they would be killing conspiracy videos, and then one of their biggest creators releases a conspiracy series and it gets 60 plus million views, it seems pretty clear that there may be a double standard here where if you're in YouTube's good graces and you release conspiracy videos, you may be okay. We may recommend you. But if you are just some nutter sitting in your bedroom like me talking about conspiracies, then no, we're going to stomp that down. We're going to kill it. We don't want you on here. But if you're Jake Paul or Logan Paul or Shane Dawson, more power to you. Go ahead and get those conspiracies out there. So we need to keep our eyes on Logan Paul, the conspiracy video performance, and his channel as a whole. Next story I have titled, Don't Be an Idiot. Let me reiterate that. Do not be an idiot. I implore you, do not be one. Let me explain what I'm talking about here. This last week, somebody who was an unhinged lunatic drove from Maine to California all the way across the country of the United States of America to California to the YouTube headquarters to try to get his channel reinstated because it had been deleted. When he arrived at YouTube headquarters, luckily he did not have any firearms in his vehicle. Apparently he just had bats or something along those lines, and not the nocturnal mammal. I'm talking about like baseball bats. And he was threatening people with violence if his channel did not get reinstated. He ended up getting arrested, thank goodness. But the funny thing here is that YouTube did not delete his video. YouTube did not delete his channel. It was his wife who deleted his channel and his video. And this is because he was running a get-rich-quick scheme. If you follow these rules, you'll become a millionaire. It will be great for everybody. Everybody will have $1 million. And I don't think he understands that if everybody has $1 million, then $1 million doesn't have the same weight. So a little bit silly there, but the funny thing is his channel was deleted by his wife, not by YouTube. And she was scared to tell him that she had deleted it, so he ended up driving to California to YouTube headquarters to try to get his channel reinstated. And let me just go ahead and state this flat out right now. The entire reason why I brought this story up, YouTube and social media does not matter in the grand scheme of things. If your channel, if your account gets deleted, do not even think about enacting violence upon somebody else over losing your account, losing your access to YouTube. That is the most ridiculous thing ever. Find another place to host your content. That is the right course of action. Start your own website before you even run into this issue. If you have a company, you should not be hosting all of your content on YouTube, on somebody else's service. But this will eliminate a large probability of your content being wiped completely from the internet if you have your own homepage. If you have your own domain, if you have your own host, if you have your own hub on the internet that you pay for directly, you are much less likely to get wiped off the face of the internet. So do that, and do not threaten violence, do not enact violence, do not be an idiot, because that will accomplish nothing other than getting you arrested. You freaking dope. Don't do it. And now we got the big ticket item, the story that I have been looking forward to. Spotify has been attacking Apple to get things changed. But what are they trying to get changed? I don't know. Maybe we'll get into that. There will be a lot of reading here, and I apologize. It all started on March 13th, 2019, when Spotify released a video attacking Apple. I'm not going to include the entire video for fear of getting copyright striked, whatever. But the general gist of that video is Spotify criticizing Apple for charging a 30% fee or 30% Apple tax if someone were to make an in-app purchase through Apple's payment system. They also criticized Apple because they own Apple Music and they run the Apple App Store, so they don't have to pay the fee, and it makes them seem like they have a little bit of a benefit, like it's an uneven playing ground. And it also said that they unfairly hide Spotify promotions and make it hard to fix any problems or give you any cool features like playing Spotify music with the S word, SIRI. I will link the full 2-minute video in the show notes down below, and I do highly recommend that you watch the entire thing so you can see how petty it seems. But let's go forward a couple of days, or one day actually. On March 14th, Apple released a response to Spotify. The first issue that they address is the claim that Apple is blocking access to products and updates to their app. It starts by Apple stating that they've contacted Spotify regarding Siri and AirPlay 2, and Spotify has said, "We're working on it." They also point out that Spotify is integrated successfully with CarPlay, and they have access to the same app development tools and resources that any other developer has. And they also state that they have approved Spotify's Apple Watch app, and it's the #1 app in the Watch Music category. The next point that they address is Spotify wanting the benefits of a free app without actually being free. They go on to explain that free apps pay absolutely nothing to Apple. Apps funded through ads also pay nothing to Apple. Subscriptions enacted outside of the app pay nothing to Apple. And apps that sell physical goods pay nothing to Apple. Only digital goods and services are subject to a fee, and subscriptions, which is what Spotify is, only pays 30% for the first year. After that, it reduces to 15%. Apple then goes on to point out other misleading information in Spotify's complaint, like the majority of Spotify's customers use the free ad-supported version of the app, which pays Apple nothing. Additionally, a large number of Spotify users come from partnerships with mobile carriers, which again pays Apple nothing. And they finalize this point by saying what Spotify wants is to pay Apple $0 for anything. Apple then goes on to provide some justification for the fee structure being in place the way that it is. Because Apple has provided the platform for users to download and update their app, Apple provides critical software development tools to support Spotify's app building, and Apple built the secure payment system, which allows users to have faith in in-app purchases. And my favorite part of this entire response to Spotify is this line. Spotify wouldn't be the business they are today without the App Store ecosystem, but now they're leveraging their scale to avoid contributing to maintaining the ecosystem for the next generation of app entrepreneurs. And to wrap up their response and maybe play Spotify's game a little bit, Apple came out and criticized how Spotify is treating artists. They state that just this week, Spotify sued music creators after a decision by the U.S. Copyright Royalty Board requiring Spotify to increase its royalty payments. This isn't just wrong, it represents a real, meaningful, and damaging step backwards for the music industry. And that is going to finalize the reading of this story. With all of that being said, I honestly don't know which company is right here because I do understand and I can see the arguments on both sides. Spotify, it does seem like there is an uneven playing ground because Apple owns Apple Music and they own the distribution platform. So it does seem like there is a little bit of uneven playing ground there. But on Apple's side, I understand that they provide all these tools. They have invested so much money in this ecosystem, the payment system, the app development tools, that they should be compensated for that. So I understand both companies' stance here, and I don't know which one is right because we don't know what kind of negotiations have gone on in boardrooms, which I imagine is where the majority of the intricacies of this story really lie, and we're not going to get that information. I guess one thing that I can say for certain is that Spotify's video seemed a bit petty and childish, kind of complaining to your friends, "Oh, I can't believe that this person did this to me," rather than going up to your friend and saying, "Hey, why'd you do this to me?" Apple's response, on the other hand, seemed much more well thought out and much more professional, which was nice to see. With that understanding, it led me to ask the question, well, why is Spotify releasing this video for the public? Typically, if you want better rates, you go into a boardroom with the company that you want better rates from and you negotiate them. You don't release a public video and let public opinion dictate the fee structures at the operational level. That is just insane. And then I remembered, Spotify just acquired Gimlet Media and Anchor for $200 million, and they're getting desperate. They need to recoup some of that money. Their VCs are breathing down their neck. Get that money back. You shouldn't have bought those companies. Purely speculative at this point. I don't know, but that's the first thing that really came to my mind. Then I remembered something that I've heard in podcasts over this last week, coming from Elizabeth Warren, who is a politician in the United States. She released a Medium post, a blog post, because that's where all good political policies come from. Blog posts on Medium. But that's irrelevant. In her blog post, she said it's got to be one or the other. Either they run the platform or they play in the store. They don't get to do both at the same time. So here is my new theory. I don't believe that Spotify released this dumbed down, petty, YouTube edutainment style video to sway public opinion. I don't think they could care less about public opinion. I believe they did so to sway the opinion of these old politicians who are on the fence about regulating and breaking up these large tech companies. And I honestly think that this type of action could be very detrimental for creators. In Elizabeth Warren's Medium post, again, what an amazing place to post your policies, she stated that we must help America's content creators, from local newspapers and national magazines to comedians and musicians. Keep more of the value their content generates rather than seeing it scooped up by companies like Google and Facebook. But to tie this back to YouTube, with Elizabeth Warren's proposed policy, I'm pretty sure that YouTube and AdSense would have to be their own separate companies now, and that could be very detrimental to American content creators and their income, their livelihood. This would directly have a negative impact on that unless I am just completely misreading this situation. So let me go ahead and explain why I think that. So as I already mentioned, AdSense would now become its own standalone company. They would be getting income from taking a cut of the CPM, which is the cost per 1,000 views on the ad. They would also likely be charging YouTube a fee for their services, for their ad seller services. Then they would pass through whatever's left over of that CPM to YouTube. YouTube obviously needs income, so they too would be taking a cut of that CPM. So it seems like there's more parties taking a piece of the pie in this scenario, which would directly negatively impact the independent American content creator. That's because people like me, independents like myself, we don't have a team. We don't have an ad buyer. We don't have the knowledge. We don't have the time to take on the role of becoming an ad buyer, which means our income decreases significantly because more companies need to be paid now. And we don't have the time to compete with the likes of The Verge. We don't have the likes to compete with Linus Tech Tips, who are very well established and grew based on this previously existing system. So now you're creating a new uneven playing field by doing this. And that is my uneducated take on that. I know I got into the weeds there for a second, but I wanted to illustrate my concerns with how this potential legislation could affect us as YouTube content creators. So to draw it back to the initial point, I think that Spotify is actively pushing for regulation of these companies and the breaking up of Apple and Google and Amazon and Facebook. And the reason that I included all of those companies is they were all mentioned in Elizabeth Warren's Medium blog post and her clarifying interview with Nilay Patel from The Verge. I will link all of this in the show notes down below if you want to read more and get as confused as I am about this. That is it for the news. Now let's jump to what you had to say. And the first comment comes from Stacy Smith. They say, another theory. Silence voices that they consider misogynistic. In other words, they are combating wrongthink. I like your Disney theory, but I'm going with the 1984 come true theory. Stacy, I think that's definitely a possibility, but as I mentioned in a previous episode, I think Twitter has some inherent bias, but I don't think that's where the real visible bias arises from. And I think the same could be extended to YouTube. I think that if anything, it's a vocal minority that shares public outrage on social media platforms, calling for boycotts or other actions that would have a negative impact on the company's bottom line, like pulling out advertisements. So I think it's possible that it's self-inflicted 1984, but I also think that it could just be people kind of policing themselves a bit too much. I don't know, but I also like the idea that Disney is strong-arming YouTube. Fix it. Fix it, guys. Come on. We got money. Fix it. I don't know. It's all up in the air and up for speculation. But thank you very much for your input. Next comment comes from Compete to Defeat. I don't come to YouTube for well-known, big established mainstream outlets. If I want that, I'll seek it out. I come to YouTube for independent content creators like you and countless others, not big established companies, not movie stars and the like. Compete, I think that you are exactly right, and I think that's been the appeal of YouTube from day one. The fact that the people uploading to the platform are you. They're relatable, they talk about the stuff that only you and 5 other people care about. They're you. That's been the appeal. We have started to see the mainstream outlets start to infiltrate it a little bit more. Look at the trending page and the late night talk shows, but there is still room for both parties. But if outrage over content being on the platform continues, I can easily see a point where only verified users with checks and balances in place are allowed to upload, and that would completely kill what makes YouTube what it is, what makes it amazing, and what made it popular. The fact that we are the people uploading. It's not corporations dictating to us what we want. And that would be a very sad day. Fingers crossed. Hope that does not happen. Next comment comes from Soundspeeds. He says, Bandrew, YouTube has been prioritizing one content creator over another since well before I launched my channel. For example, I launched my Deity S-Mic 2 reviews before you and Booth Junkie, but ever since the day you both released your videos, my video dropped down lower in the search results. Even smaller channels than mine will launch a video that will show up higher in the search results, even though the view count is lower and time has passed. Maybe it's my thumbnail, maybe it's my description, maybe it's my tags. I don't know, but it's puzzling. Alan, I understand exactly where the frustration is coming from, but I want to clarify something really quick. Search ranking and prioritization are very different in my opinion. The search ranking is based off a bunch of different factors from thumbnail to click-through rate to watch time to watch session generated, etc. And prioritization, in the context of the story that I was talking about last week, is really YouTube just flipping a switch and saying, we're pushing established news organizations to the top, screw what people actually want to see. Two very different scenarios in my opinion. One is good, one is horrifying to see. As far as your search ranking, I'm not sure what would be causing that. Something that may be beneficial to you. I don't know if you've heard of a creator, Nick Nimmin, Nicknimmin. He does live streams every Saturday morning, and he used to do this. I don't know if he still does, but if you donate a $5 super chat or something, he will review your channel and give you feedback and suggestions on how to improve your standing in the YouTube algorithm. So that may be beneficial. Go ahead and check out Nick Nimmin and maybe consider donating a $5 in the super chat and he can review your channel, but make sure they are still doing that before actually donating the $5. Let me know if you need anything. I'd be willing to sit down with you and look over your analytics if you want, see click-through rate, watch time, all of that. But there's nothing we can do to find out how our videos lead to watch sessions. There's nothing we can do about that because we don't know. Next comment comes from Chucky Love. I actually watch these till the end. Hopefully the algorithm eventually makes these great podcasts get more attention. Dude, I used to get millions of views on old accounts. The new YouTube sucks, especially if under a new account. Chucky, thank you so much for those kind words. That is very nice of you, and I appreciate you watching to the very bitter end. You are one of the few. Warriors unite! Appreciate you. And I also got to say that I really enjoy your content that you've been uploading of you testing all this ridiculously nice gear, stuff that I will likely never own. It's so cool hearing that stuff. And I don't know where you get all your money. I don't know where you get it. You got so much of it. What are you doing, man? Should I be distancing myself from you? Are you part of something that is shady? I'm going to distance myself from you, Chucky. I don't know what's going on with you. But as far as YouTube sucking, I kind of disagree with you there. It's definitely difficult to grow a channel now. Well, it's always been difficult to grow a channel, but now especially if you do edgy content or swear or do anything that's not family friendly. I will concede that. If you do that type of content, definitely more difficult to grow a channel now, or definitely more difficult to earn a living off of the platform. But as far as myself, it may be difficult, it may be a lot of work, but I am glad. It has taken me years to grow the audience of this podcast that I currently have, and I'm glad that it took that long. I don't want it to be easy because it allows me time to improve the show, get better at the audio processing, get better at the formatting, get better at outlining. It's just ultimately more beneficial for the end viewer if people aren't just thrust into the limelight immediately. I think the struggle to grow your channel is worth it. And it also, this may sound bad, it keeps a lot of people who are just in it for the money out of it, which is good, because only the people who are really passionate about what they're making are going to stick through the years and years of grinding that it takes to get to a successful point on YouTube. But thank you very much for the email. Now, let's get to my favorite part of the show, your comment. Ask Bandrew. That was weird. All right. If you all got any questions, go ahead and send them to askbandrew@gmail.com, and I will likely answer them on an upcoming episode of the podcast. And for the record, you can send in video and you can send in audio to avoid listening to me read. And I appreciate that. We got an audio and a video submission this week. I'm very excited. We'll get to those last. And the first email comes from Alan, aka Soundspeeds. He says, Bandrew, happy St. Patrick's Day. If you're not wearing green, I hope you get pinched by many people in the comments. As for me, I just want to see you say Irish wristwatch 5 times in 5 seconds. Will you do this? Oh, and don't try this out loud until showtime. That would be cheating. First off, I am going to get close to the camera. I am wearing my I Still Want to Believe pin on my beanie, and there are green mountains on there, so I do not get to get pinched. Sorry, don't pinch me. As far as Irish wristwatch, let's go ahead and try that. Irish wristwatch, Irish wristwatch, Irish wristwatch, Irish wristwatch, Irish wristwatch, Irish wristwatch, Irish wristwatch. Terrible, but I tried it. Thank you. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody watching and listening. I hope you had a safe one, and I hope you're not too hungover if you're somebody who does the drinking thing. And I hope you had some good Irish food. Celebrate the Irish culture. Pretty cool culture, if I do say so myself. I don't know if that was condescending or not. I did not intend it to be. Next comment, next email comes from ENJ. He says, first off, I would like to say thank you for the recent advice that you gave in the BSP episode 153. Secondly, you answered a bit later than I expected, so I had upgraded from the NW700 to an AT2020. In the meantime, and I plan on getting a Scarlett Solo when I have the money. Do you think that this combination will serve me well for half-decent music production that is being made for fun and as a hobby? The music type is still hip-hop. P.S. Love the recent videos and keep up the fantastic work, and to death with all of the unwanted stickers. Yes, I'm creating an army, a cult of the Q2U, and an army against adhesive marketing devices. ENJ, thank you very much for the email. I think you would be more than happy with the AT2020 paired with a Scarlett Solo. Most of these consumer level audio interfaces are amazing and will serve all of your purposes extremely well. You will be left wanting nothing much, really. Unless you want to start running outboard gear, then you start playing around with a lot of insert funkiness and all of that. But for basic recording, you will be perfectly fine with the Scarlett Solo and the AT2020. If you are doing hip-hop, I just want to reiterate, definitely get a very good pop filter, because you don't want I can't even pop my SM7B. What am I doing? Hope that helps. Best of luck, ENJ, and death to all stickers. Next email comes from Kimmy. Hi, Bandrew. I just watched your video and I purchased the Scarlett Studio System last fall and I have loved using it. My question is, I bought the wrong mic stand as it doesn't attach correctly to it. Do you have a suggestion of the stands that are compatible with this microphone? Please let me know when you can, as currently I tape the mic to the stand and I don't want to keep doing that as I use it all the time. Kimmy, thank you very much for the email. I appreciate it. I did already respond to you, but I am going to share this with everybody else because why not? Let's learn from the emails. Let's learn together. This is this is us. What? Okay. What am I doing? When you buy the Scarlett Studio System thing, the microphone comes with a microphone mount. That microphone mount has a 5/8 inch threading. Most of the little boom arms that clip onto the side of your desk have 3/8 inch threading. So all you need to do to get that to work is go to Amazon.com, search 5/8 to 3/8 inch microphone adapter. And you can buy them for $1 a piece, $2 a piece. Not a problem. That'll fix it. If you have one of those stage desktop stands, not stage desktop stands, that makes no sense. One of those stage microphone stands, then those are typically 5/8 threading, so you wouldn't need any adapter there. There you go. Hopefully that helps. Although I already emailed you, as I already said. Okay. Now we got a clarifying note from Red regarding the hosting that he sent in last week. Let's go ahead and hear that right now.
I figured it would just be easier to do this than try to explain it over another email, because you suck at reading anyway. Your words, not mine. Here's the clarifying email. This isn't an email. It's an audio. But my 2011 iMac from eBay sucked. It was outdated. I bought a brand new 21.5, the most expensive one out of the options there. I'm just currently using GarageBand. I can't do music fade, or maybe it does do it and I just don't know how to do it. But I plan on getting Logic Pro after what you said last week. Sounds like it's similar and I won't have to relearn a whole bunch. I was referring to my WordPress website. It has 30 gigabytes of data. I think that's what it is. PowerPress plugin by Blueberry offers a 100 megabyte plan a month for $12, which is what I ended up getting. Blueberry says that 100 gigabytes is good enough for 20 minutes a week. I should have bought it a couple months ago to get some reserve room, but I'm new, so I make short episodes anyway for now. I thought maybe I could utilize my website space, the 30 gigabyte that the website comes with, and then start using up my Blueberry space, but it kind of seems like a no-no. I paid WordPress for a website, not a host for large media files. Thank you for everything you do. You made me feel more confident to create content and start this journey, so I do appreciate it. P.S. I'm glad you said what you did last week about YouTube. That guy wanted to take down the money flowing to those families, apparently by scaring everybody that advertised on YouTube. Would be kind of nice to know how much money those families lost because of what he did. Could have been handled a whole different way. You did good last week. Anyway, thanks again. Hopefully the audio's not too bad for just being the free GarageBand here. I don't want to go out and buy the other stuff until later. Who knows, I might not even want to do this in a month. I don't know. Later, Bandrew.
Red, I love the way that you say Bandrew. And for the record, you suck at reading. Screw you, man. You're bullying me. That was awesome, though. I appreciate you sending that in. And thank you for the clarifier. You are correct. That is a big no-no. Using web hosting service to host your media files, you may be able to get away with it initially, but if you have any shows or episodes that really blow up in popularity, that is where you will get on their radar and you risk having your website taken down. Not too familiar with the whole self-hosting thing, so I will go ahead and link Better Podcasting episode 65 down below. And they discuss this, if I remember correctly, and it will be a great asset for you to check out. Maybe you can get by with hosting the media files on GoDaddy because you are paying them, but I know once you start to get a lot of traffic, if your downloads, if your bandwidth goes skyrockets, you risk losing all of it. So I would personally suggest going through an established podcast distribution host thing because that's just safer, in my opinion. Thank you so much for that audio feedback. That was incredible, and good luck. Let me know if you got any more questions. And now we got some video feedback from American Liberty. Strap in, guys. This is going to be a fun one.
No, 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 Not the cookie! No! Answer my questions. You can't last forever. Do you know the Microphone Man?
Did you mean the Muffin Man?
No! The Microphone Man!
The Muffin Man?
Do you know the Microphone Man?
Oh, you mean the Muffin Man.
Well, hello, Mr. Microphone Man. I saw your BS podcast. A few shows ago, you had an individual write in that you commented on that was talking about maybe the possibility of you doing a future live show in reference to your conspiracy corner, taking your conspiracy theories and stretching them out just a little bit for the entertainment of your public. I think that's a brilliant idea. I love the idea as long as you're willing to put time into it. But I will tell you, when it comes to the concept of doing a live call-in program, which was what he suggested, I'd like to tell you that might have a little bit of more thought process that you want to put into it, and here's why.
You need to do a lot of things, man. You need to do a lot of things. Call-in shows are rough, man. Make them kind of tough. You need to do a lot of things, man. You need to do a lot of things.
Lots of time to plan. Set a date that works. Advertise like crazy. Keep your schedule firm. Have a number to call and a system to take 'em. Then, Mr. Microphone Man, you must be prepared to deal with no calls at all. And if you think that's the worst of it, the scariest part, wrong. You also have to be prepared for who actually does call in. Here, allow me to give you a couple examples just to think about it for a sec. Let's first turn to the unfocused storyteller. Well, here we go again, Bandrew. I know quite a bit when it comes to conspiracies, but before I talk about that, I'd like to tell you about a job I had many, many years ago, decades ago. I used to be a lifeguard at a lake near my home, and at the early part of the season, well, unlike California, where y'all wear shorts and bathing suits 24/7 all year round, we still had snow at the beginning of our open lake season. Well, we didn't have much to do, so we sat around, and all we did was gossip. And well, I tell you the truth, most conspiracies are pretty much just gossip sessions and should be thought as such. Well, I don't have any more time. I've got to go. So let me just say, I love your program, Bandrew, and I hope you continue with strong success, and God bless America. Well, that was boring and long, and wow, that would have been a terrible call. But that's not the worst of it. Imagine somebody calls in the program that fits with the question in your wheelhouse normally, but isn't quite on subject matter of Conspiracy Corner to which you're trying to do a show on. Then put a little danger concept into it in another way. Let's hear what I'm talking about.
Hi, Bandrew. My name's Billy. I'm 7, and I want to find out about a recommendation for a microphone. I have a friend named Johnny, and Johnny's got a brother, and his brother vapes. And one day Johnny says he was over at the house and saw where his brother was hiding his vapes, and he had a whole bunch of them. So Johnny grabbed a box of them and brought them over to my place, and we went out in the backyard and we were vaping. And oh my gosh, it was so much fun, Bandrew. We had such a good time. So anyhow, he came up with the idea, and I love it, that we do this thing called hot boxing, and that sounded really fun. So we got this big old cardboard box, and then we decided we should do a YouTube video on this, and oh my gosh, it'd be great. I don't understand why it's called hot boxing, because it's snowing outside. It's really, really cold. So we're going to call it cold boxing with Billy and Johnny. We need a microphone for it, but it's got to be a microphone that could take water, because I'm sure that we're going to be all hot, and the outside's going to be all cold, and we're going to get covered with snow, and the snow's going to leak through that box, and we're going to get all wet, and the microphone might get all wet. So what we need to do is find out whether or not you know about a microphone that we can use. It can take the cold weather, and it can get a little wet. Hey, Bandrew, can you do me a favor and recommend a microphone for us? Thank you, Bandrew.
Danger, Will Robinson, danger!
Danger is right. 7-year-old kids calling in asking vape questions for your assistance to help them break the law. Well, that's a dangerous topic to even go near. You think that's bad, though? Here, let's get a little creepy. Google. Conspiracies. Dangerous topic, conspiracies. Religion of Google. Thank God we didn't have a Google or YouTube around back in the time of Galileo. Yep, they would have called him a heretic because he said the world was round at a time when everyone else said the world was flat. Well, that was plain out creepy. Ooh, I get shivers in my timbers over that. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Well, if that's gonna make you shiver, well, just you wait here and see this, because this guy's just flat out insane. Hey, who are you calling insane? Just because I have this tinfoil helmet on my head. Look, you guys run around with the tinfoil hat. That's not cutting it anymore. You need the helmet. Come on, get on board. You know they're after us. They're everywhere. They're coming for you. They're coming for me. They're coming for all of us. They're in our food. They're in our technology. They're in our air, our water. Come on, they're everywhere. They're coming for us. Don't call me insane just because I get it and you don't. Come on now. Come on now. Come on. Hey, by the way, don't throw away your tinfoil hats, man. Put those on top. You need those to protect yourself against the damn aliens that are trying to get us. Do you know the microphone man?
Yes, I know the microphone man, and his name is Bandrew Scott.
American Liberty, you are insane. And I loved every single second of that. If you are just an audio listener, I 100% recommend you go over to bandrewsays.com and click the play button on the video and fast forward to this time so you can watch what was sent in. That was incredible. I absolutely loved it. And the thing is, all of the things that you state in that are absolutely true. There are a lot of requirements if you want to do a live call-in show, especially if you're doing something as controversial as conspiracies or politics or religion. Any of those things, you have a lot of risk along with that. You got to plan your live streams, absolutely. You got to set a time that works for your audience, and you have to have a consistent time for that live show. If people don't know when to show up to your live stream page, your live stream is dead. And you have to have a call-in system that provides decent enough audio, which can be expensive, although I have the Rodecaster Pro, so I guess it would be pretty simple now. And you are absolutely right that you have to be entertaining if nobody calls in, and that is a risk that every single call-in show has. There's a possibility that nobody will ring up, and you have to be entertaining for the entire time that you have allotted for your live stream, especially if you allow it to be a VOD, a video on demand, afterwards. You sure as heck better have some value and something interesting to say in there. You also point out that all types of people will call in, and that is very true. The one that rung true for me was the Billy one. That creeped me out and scared me, and I am pretty sure that that exact conversation has happened a few times in the Podcastage Discord voice chat. No offense if you were that Billy person, but you made me feel very uncomfortable, and I don't condone anybody doing anything illegal. I'll leave it at that. The thing about live call-in shows is, unless you have a producer and a time delay that would allow them to censor stuff, it would be very dangerous because people who call in could spout anything that they want, and you wouldn't have any recourse on your end because you are allowing somebody a platform to say these hateful things or these things that are against terms of service. And on that note, that's what scares me. If I were to be streaming somewhere and I had somebody who hated me, that didn't think I deserved the audience that I had, they could just call in and start spewing stuff that's against the terms of service, whether it be racial slurs, whether it be conspiracies. Well, no, conspiracies, I guess the entire show is against the terms of service in some way, shape, or form, but you get my point. They could call in like people do on Twitch and say stuff that would get me banned or taken down or striked. American Liberty, thank you so much for that awesome video submission. That was incredible, and you raised some very good points, and it is hands down the best submission I have ever seen for a podcast. Amazing, amazing work. I can't wait to see the next one, whatever that is. I know you sent in an amazing one for better podcasting, but maybe I'm biased. I like mine better. Better podcasting, I will fight you. I will fight you for American Liberty clips. That's gonna wrap it up. Personal stuff. As I pointed out, I am wearing green. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. That's all I got there. And I also wanted to send a sincere congratulations to Heather from Sunshine and Power Cuts for the hugely successful Sunshine Summit 2019. It was amazing, amazing guests, amazing to come by and chat with all of you. It was so cool. Heather, you did an amazing job, and I am so proud to say that you're a member of the Geeks Rising Podcast Network. Keep up the amazing work. Can't wait for 2019 Part 2 in September, October, November, sometime in the future. Excited about that. Also, I had to say, I stayed on the SM7B for another week. I didn't want to switch out the microphone. I just love this thing so much, and I missed her. I missed her so much. I had to stay on it. I don't know what microphone I'm going to use after this, but I will be using something. And lastly, I highly suggest checking out the other shows on geeksrising.com. That is it. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me to the bitter end. Chucky Love, you included. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll talk to you next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer of Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.